personally, I'm getting worried because we are losing tigers from the core tiger habitat. So we definitely have to maintain the tiger population in the landscape, because once we lose that kind of interest, we might lose the tiger habitat and important corridors, and we cannot bring them back. But at the same time, we also need to focus on the core tiger habitat and core tiger population so that we have the source population somewhere secure, which, once recover, can be, colonizing, it can spread out all across the landscape. Definitely, I applaud the interest of the World Bank community and, all of you here. And definitely, we all need your help to, push our interest on tiger conservation. And that really matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mahendra. Keshav?
Thank you very much, Sanjay, and thanks for sharing this. It's support from WBI and the World Bank group and our colleagues is very, very crucial in this. I would like to thank all our partners and the field offices, and of course, the inspirational colleagues from WBI, Communication, and others. It's really scary to understand and feel the kind of expectations and the challenges that this initiative has generated. I'm happy to see that there is traction in tiger range countries, there is traction at the regional level, and there is a platform of partnership that brings together experience, knowledge, technology, science, and connects global knowledge to local practice. So it's an important thing that is happening. The problem is that at the frontiers of tiger conservation, there is this hemorrhaging which is going on. There is bleeding. And there is a need for very effective action at the field level to stop this bleeding. What is happening is that it's a very multifaceted challenge that habitats are undergoing. One is the challenge that the conservation community has to understand that there is their world and there is a much larger world that exists around them. And it is throwing so much of pressure. In Singapore, it was estimated by ADB that in the next 10 years, there will be $8 trillion of infrastructure that would be needed in Asia. If that kind of infrastructure is going to come into a country, and if the paradigm of development does not factor in biodiversity values and looks at infrastructure only as concrete roads and ports and hydro projects, then we are in a huge threat, because against that, the investment in conservation are minimal. And we need to look at a new paradigm of development where these values are taken care of. The biggest problem which I feel is the problem of management and governance of habitats. Habitats are being managed, at least in India, as mysterious islands, far away, remote, about whom you can only hear when there is a crisis. You never know what is going on there. And this practice is so fundamentally backward in a world which has moved so much ahead that there is such a disconnect. So if something needs to be done, and I am very keen to ensure that there has to be implementation of all that we are doing in big conferences at the global level, at the regional level, and national level. There has to be implementation at the front lines. And this is fundamental. And as the Chinese say very often, it is not good to fly a kite without a string. And I think we have to develop that string and of course, I'm not trying to criticize this thing. I think the comprehensive manner under the way the partnership is moving on is important. Kathmandu provided a liftoff, but it is also a symptom which is very, very important for us to reflect on. Kathmandu was a gathering of conservationists and like-minded people. It's important that in our conversation we should diversify the people we are talking to. We have to bring ministries of finance. We have to bring road ministries. We have to bring infrastructure people. We have to bring all these people to really develop mainstream conservation in the development issue. And that is the essence of it, because when Mr. Zelik was in India, Jairam Ramesh, who's the environment minister, when he knew that Mr. Zelik was having a separate meeting with Kamal Nath, who's the minister for roads now, he told him, he said, look, Mr. Kamal Nath is going to ask you for roads, but roads are going to destroy my ecosystems. So say no where tiger ecosystems are concerned. They have to be preserved. So there is a need for not only for conservationists to shout about preserving and not fragmenting ecosystem, there is a need that infrastructure ministries should know that they cannot afford to lose the wilderness of their country. There is another issue which is extremely important, which needs to come up, which is of transboundary coordination and regional coordination. Transboundary in the Tarai Arc areas in Nepal and India, poachers are making merry, and we have not been able to make them feel the heat of all that we are doing. And this is completely a contradiction, that we do so much at the global and regional and national level, and the poacher still walks into a forest and can trap or kill a tiger. So I think there is a great need, and actually Kathmandu is moving in that direction of transboundary coordination. And the last issue is of communication. It is unbelievable that a lot of people just do not know how the crisis is manifesting itself. People don't know that there are just 3,500 tigers. People don't know that there are only 121 breeding tigers in Nepal, in the Tarai area. It's really, when I landed at this place, there was this huge delegation coming into Nepal and talking about this tiger country, which is Nepal, and they thought there were 3,000 tigers in Nepal. And I told them there is 3,000 tigers in the world left. So communication also, I keep talking about the tiger test. Look at a tiger, how he communicates his presence in a habitat. Look at a tiger, how he protects its habitat. Look at a tiger, how it, manages the biodiversity of this thing. I think we have not really been able to meet the tiger test as far as we are concerned, as people who are trying to save this. Now, where are we going? I think Kathmandu gave us a lift off. From Kathmandu, the catalytic role that Ministry of Environment is playing, it's amazing. The minister has been absolutely a leader and a transformational leader. I am just back from India, where we had our president meeting some of the rather sharp critics of the bank. But I think his presence, his interventions have had a transformational impact. And I must thank Roberto and Isabel and the whole team, Sacha is here, who all contributed to making sure that we had a positive agenda to look forward to. And now there is a positive agenda which is coming up. Mr. Valmik Thapar, when I first met him, last time I was there, he used to be a friend of mine, landed up there with our team. I extended my hand to shake hands with him. He put his hand back and he said, So that was the situation when we last met him. Of course, after the meeting, we had a weak handshake. But after the meeting with our president, he called me up. He said, let's have lunch together. And three of them walk in, and they give me